Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Who is your role model? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Kobe Bryant? Is it Ken Griffey Jr. hitting home runs? Or who should it be? Is it the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Who should be our role model and why, you guys? And who are the kids, who are the youth looking up to and why? Let's analyze who our role models are, because of course this is a very influential source of our life, especially for the youth. So having said that, assalamu alaikum and welcome once again to Let's Talk, you guys, your favorite program on your favorite channel, Huda TV. We're hitting them with the 1-2 punch. Let's talk, viewers pulse, and don't forget the Ummah tonight. And thank you as always for your support and for watching Huda TV. Of course, the premier, the pioneer English language Islamic channel. You guys continue to support us. We've been broadcasting by the grace of Allah for 8 years, and we certainly hope to continue to do so. So having said that, like I said, today's topic is who is your role model? You have to ask yourself that and look at your children as well. If you guys are parents, who are their role models? Very important. I grew up looking at Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Is this acceptable? Should these people be our role models? Is it okay for our youth to look up to athletes? Is there anything wrong with that? Well, let's take a look at their personal lives and their character, and then that will answer the question, inshallah. Having said that, let me introduce my guests and my studio audience. Assalamu alaikum, you guys, to everyone. Thank you for joining me. Starting with my right, just tell the viewers and myself your full name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself, brother. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Mahmoud Saeed. I'm from Egypt. I work as a trainer at Fayoum University. Our basic fields are training new graduates to catch on the job market.
Great. And you studied abroad, didn't you, down there in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you study at?
I studied at FSU.
So everybody over there at FSU, Florida State University, they're playing football. Their whole life is around college football, isn't that right?
Yes.
Was that a shock for you? It's like
yes,
they call it church, you know. They don't go to church on Sunday, they go watch football on Saturday. Oh, well, I've seen that, right?
I attended one of these events and it was really big.
You're in shock to see what's happening. And of course, Bobby Bowden, before I introduce the rest of the guests into the audience, Bobby Bowden once said after 9/11, when they canceled football for that week in remembrance of 9/11, he said, "What are you guys doing? Let's play ball." I don't know if you remember that, Brother Mustafa. Go ahead, also introduce yourself, brother, and tell us about where you're from, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Mustafa Moore. I'm from America. I'm from a place called North Carolina.
Okay, great.
Tell
us about North Carolina.
North Carolina. You
Football.
talk about football, but really basketball, because
yes.
I'm from the place where Michael Jordan is from.
Which is called?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, so he was born and he was from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yes.
And he went to play college ball at North Carolina.
Yeah, in North Carolina.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And you have Duke, North Carolina. So it's a big basketball state, actually,
yes,
yeah.
It's a very big basketball state.
And so as we talk about in this episode, Brother Mustafa, I want you to talk about, as we go through this episode, is it okay to take these athletes as our role models? Why or why not? We're going to talk about it in the episode. But before we do that, I want to go to the studio audience. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. What about you? What do you guys think? Who should be our role model?
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I am
Abdul
Fattah. Our role model must be Prophet Muhammad. Peace be upon him. It is not because he is a prophet of Allah only, but because he was putting the advice in action, not only in words. He was the leading in action, not words.
Okay.
That's it.
The reality is, though, what would you say the reality is, though, if we go to the streets of the young Muslims and here in the Middle East? Do you think that, okay, the Prophet, peace be upon him, should be our role model, but who is the role model of the youth today in, say, the Middle East here? In reality, who are the role models?
In reality,
yeah.
To be honest,
yeah, let's do it.
Is my father.
Great.
My
Mashallah.
father. Because he did the same.
Okay.
This is what he never punished me for something to do or forced me to do something,
right.
Even if I'm not bad. Okay, he convinced me with logic.
Yeah,
he speaking to me with rahmah, merciful.
Right, of course.
To be nice with me.
So for you, brother, the role model was the Prophet and then your father.
Yeah.
But for most of the youth, do you think that's the case? Who do you think in reality, who is the role model nowadays?
In reality, nowadays, a man, of course not. it is not easy to find a man full of
Good character. But now,
objects.
brother, do you think the kids now they look up to musicians and athletes?
Athletes, I have an idea. I have something in my mind to say that if كل البقل ما دام صحيحا ولا تسأل عن المقالة. Eat the beans if it is good, and don't care about the can itself.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So take the good things in everything
Yeah, mashallah.
and put the bad things aside.
Yes,
Okay,
good advice. Thank
That's
you.
what I think.
Good advice, brother. Thank you, Allah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, brother. What do you think?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, baby. How are you?
Nabil from Egypt. Yeah, we should, and it's the right thing to do to take Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace upon peace be upon him, as a role model. But in reality, like you said, most of the youth nowadays turn to the athletes, artists, singers,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
actors. That's a big problem, you know.
Yeah, the young girls, they look up to the most skinniest girl, the most skinniest model, the singer with the prettiest voice. That's what the youth do, and the boys look up to the best football player, soccer player, basketball player. So I think that's what's really happening. So we want to talk about that.
That's what really happening.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And they just acting like them. Even if they do bad things, they act like them.
Yes,
If
subhanallah.
wearing anything inappropriate, they wear the same things.
Yeah, of course.
You don't care about what logic they doing.
And now even women, non-Muslim women in the United States are beginning to complain because they say you created this image of beauty where you have to be a super thin, beautiful model, and no one can live up to that image. But you've made this as our role model, these anorexic models with all these sorts of psychological problems, and they are disasters, and they are in the psychiatrists, and they have all sorts of issues. Not to belittle people that have that, but I mean, you can see this is our role model, subhanAllah. So thank you for that, I appreciate it. Go ahead, brother, go ahead.
My name is Omar.
How are you doing, Omar? Alaikum salam, brother, go ahead.
Well, I think it's something personal. I think that the role model is the teacher. Teaches you anything, and you then do as he tells you or as he does.
But what characteristics do you look for in a role model? Who should be a role model, who shouldn't be a role model?
Well, it's being kind, you know.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Okay, thank you, brother. Yeah. Good. What about the brother in the back with the big glasses, mashallah?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, how are you, man? Nice to see you.
I'm fine.
What do you think? Go ahead.
Hamad Halim is my name. I
Thank you,
think that we have many role models in Islam. Of course, in the top of them is the Prophet Muhammad, but we still have many names we can consider them as role model, like Farouk Umar bin Khattab, Siddiq, Abu Bakr Siddiq, and many times we cannot if we
Count them, yeah, there's so
yes,
many, yeah, mashallah.
yes.
In fact, go ahead.
In reality, I think that every Muslim, every one of Muslim, has to be a real model. But we have another reality. In fact.
Yeah, subhanallah. You know, I heard a funny YouTube video. The sheikh said, you can name all the players on all the teams, like the Denver Broncos, but you didn't memorize the Quran, but you didn't know 10 names of the Sahaba, but you know all the players on the Lakers. But it was a bit, it was kind of, it was a harsh reality, you know. And I fall into that as well. I know all the players on all the teams as well. I didn't know that many Sahaba. And that, I mean, now, you know, as a youth, you know. Oh, yeah. And so anyway, so it's sometimes we should give the nasiha in a nice way, but it was a nice point. I thought it was funny, you know. Thank you, brother. How about you, brother?
Well, I think it's a given that Prophet Muhammad should be our ultimate role model. But today, because of the media and TV and stuff, we see singers and actors almost all the time.
Yeah.
They act characters, and people see them all day, all long. So they just take them as a role model for a certain character. It's not real, it's just a character, but they just like it and think that's should be our role model.
That's a good point, because they think they know the person by seeing this person on TV or in the media, and this is just all a facade. They don't even know. You don't know who the person really is.
The person is acting in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. But brother, tell us about. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. What about if you? Okay, go ahead, brother.
I'm Mahmoud.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
My ultimate role model is Prophet Muhammad. And I think the role model is not the same person you love.
Right.
The actors of him.
Yeah.
The right acts, not everything about the person. You love him, you make do everything he do, and everything. No, you love the right thing of him, the right acts, not everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. The right actions, not just
Yes,
because. Yeah, not him as a person, but the deeds that he does.
Yes.
Excellent point. Thank you, brother. Having said that, brother, you've been in the United States and you've been in Egypt. What do you see a difference in this? Or is it the same? You know, the youth, wherever they are, they take the athletes and the musicians as their role models. Is it the same in both countries, or more so?
Youth is used everywhere. You know.
Yeah,
It's the same fact everywhere.
Right.
They are trying to imitate them and the way they dress, the way they speak, the way they act,
the way they look.
The way they look. Yes.
Yeah.
And
the same thing in Egypt and America.
Yes, everywhere. I think there should be some basics or kind of a criteria of selecting your model, because your model is not correct all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Most of the time you keep imitating the person, and even if he does something that is wrong,
you do it too.
You do it too.
Yeah, yeah. This is a big problem. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
How about you? Growing up in North Carolina, who did you and the kids who did your friends take as a role model? And after you tell us that, you told me something really funny in the break. I want you to tell us who your role model was, but I don't want you to say it yet. Start by saying your friends, the people around you. What kind of people do they take as role models back in North Carolina?
They love the basketball. Basketball is the top
in North Carolina. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, they call that the Middle East because it's the middle of the East Coast.
Yeah, well, it is that, but they don't, you know.
It was nothing like the other. No. But anyways, so they're taking the basketball players like who?
Well, you know, growing up, you know, they loved Jordan.
Yeah, of course.
It was beyond anything.
It's like idolizing him almost. We can say that.
It wasn't almost. It was they had
the shoes, the clothes, everything.
They had the Michael Jordan dolls. You know? Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan underwear.
Yeah, imagine that.
For what?
Yeah.
For what?
And he made the shoes for $2 in Indonesia, but we bought them for $200 in the States. I did it myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead, brother. Yeah. So they're looking at Jordan. Who else?
Oh yeah, they're loving Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, right.
You know, anyone, you know, older Magic Johnson. You know.
Yeah, all these guys. Yeah, all these names.
You know, it's you know the sports and you know, anything that they represented, that's what they accepted. So if they were on like a lot of, I know you remember Wheaties, right?
Of course.
They don't even like cereal, but they'll eat those cereal just because their sports hero was on them.
Yeah.
So they were using the sports people as kind of like a form of mind control.
Yeah, of course. Good point. So, brother, having said that, and I always say having said that too much. They told me to stop saying that. So, having said that, just joking. But what's the problem? I wanted to ask you, and then you guys. What's the problem with taking athletes as a role model? They're good at what they do. They're successful in society. They're talented in their field. So why can't we take Kobe Bryant, Jordan, and the new names nowadays? Well, Kobe's still going. But why can't we take these guys as role model? What's the problem? Well, but before you answer that question, we're going to take a short break. I'm sorry about that, you guys. We're going to keep the viewers in suspense. If you want to know what's wrong with taking these guys as your role model, and if you want to know who the brother Mustafa's role model was growing up, and have a good laugh, and I'll tell you who mine was as well, and you tell everybody who your role model was growing up as well, and you guys have to also. So you got to stay tuned for the next segment of Let's Talk. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah.
In a game of golf, both the caddy and the golfer have the same goal: to get the ball into the hole. Interest-free banking is similar. With a clear view of the fairway, a predefined agreement without shifting targets, things should end up where you want them. Your deposits are safe, and your funds are ethically managed with a transparent and equitable approach to sharing risk and reward. No interest burden means more time to relax without the worry of nasty surprises. Rest assured, our interest is mutual. Jazz Bank, Nigeria's first full-fledged non-interest bank.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Welcome back to Let's Talk. We're hitting them with the 1-2 punch. Let's Talk viewers pause. Don't forget the Ummah tonight. Inshallah, you guys. How do you like that crane action? We got talented brothers working the crane and the cameras, mashallah. Having said that, I always say having said that. You guys, every time I say having said that, stop me, okay?
Okay.
Having said that.
There is another way.
What can I say? What else?
Carrots.
Every time I say having said that, I should say carrots?
Yes.
Okay. Carrots.
To see how irrelevant this is to...
Oh, great. Yeah, mashallah. That's like an English teaching trick, mashallah. Thank you, brother. Carrots. No, I'm sorry. But, okay, now, what my question was before the break, I want to ask both of you guys, what's wrong with taking these guys as your role model? Why can't I take Kobe Bryant as my role model? He's an excellent basketball player, successful figure. For example, Michael Jordan, like you said. All these guys. What's wrong with that? Why can't we take them as a role model? Brother Mustafa, what do you think?
Well, I heard that Michael Jordan just recently acquired a basketball team, so, you know, as saying that he's successful, that goes beyond speaking. You know, he's quite successful, but Michael has no guidance.
Right.
You know, he doesn't believe. You know, he's not a Muslim. He doesn't follow the teachings of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam.
Yeah.
And you know, as we know, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
You know, so no matter how successful he is in the society,
that's not an indicator.
He's a failure. Unless he understands that he only has one Lord.
Yeah.
And you know, unfortunately, when you get in a position like that, maybe you see your money as your Lord, or you know, you see your house as your Lord, or you know, you begin you know, as they say, the dunya begins to own you.
Right.
You know, so
yes.
So, you know, this is the reality for these people, because everyone looks at them for this. He has to have the newest car. He has to have the nicest house. He has to have the most beautiful wife.
Right.
You know, so I mean, so all of these things is weighing on a person.
Right. And Brother Almir Kolan, who did a show for us, Islamic Finance, he said, I told youth, you own the money. Don't let the money own you, number one. Number two, I don't like to bring up people's faults, okay, because I don't even know Michael Jordan personally. But I want to mention this. He's a very successful person in the dunya, that's true. But if we remember, his wife did divorce him. He had a gambling problem, a drinking problem, I believe, as well. His character was in question by his teammates. Even Steve Kerr, John Paxson, his teammates were saying we don't like playing with him. He's very aggressive. He even punched Steve Kerr in practice. I'm not bringing up his negative things, okay? We all have shortcomings. But what I'm saying is, let's take a look at the person who we're going to make our role model. Just because he's a good basketball player doesn't mean he's a good person. Yes. That's the point we want to make, right? Okay. What about you, brother? What's wrong with taking athletes, in your opinion, as our role models?
I don't see any problem in this. What I think is, whenever you are selecting anyone, just you can measure his actions or words to the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there is no problem if I take Steve Jobs as a role model,
or business, for example.
Yes, for business, because he taught me, for example, to manage my time or to manage my expenses.
Right.
These are good things to learn from him.
So what we can say is, okay, we can take a role model, say for Michael Jordan in sports, or Steve Jobs for business, but at the same time we look at his character, his way of doing business, his honesty, his characteristics, or the characteristics, Islamic characteristic and values.
And we'll put it in the scale of Islam or in the scale of the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Or we can say, I want to play basketball like Michael Jordan, or I want to do business like Steve Jobs, but I'm a Muslim and I do things according to our Islamic ethics, something like that.
Yes.
As opposed to saying, I wear Michael Jordan underwear and I worship Michael Jordan, stuff like that. That's what the kids do. You know, I did it myself. You know, and in fact, I still have a pair of Jordans at the house. I haven't bought those shoes anymore since I became Muslim, but I had an old pair, so it's different. You know what I'm saying?
I never bought one pair of Jordans.
And you're better for it, brother, because they were making those shoes in Indonesia. They pay the people like $1, and then they sell it to the people for $200, and it's another story. But I want to go back to the studio audience. I want you guys, who wants to speak up? You ready, brother? So I want you to tell me, in your opinion, I know you're from Egypt, okay? The majority of youth, who do you think the role model is? Name some of the people.
Majority of Egyptians now...
The young kids, the youth.
The youth, especially youth, because of revolution now and the rebellion and things like that. And people, especially youth, engaged in politics.
Right.
So every one of them take the side of a party, political party or something like that. Some people think Al-Baradi is the best. Some people Hamdain, and so on. Many people like this. Okay. It is not so. It is not bad, and it is not good. What I think here, as our friends here said, that Islam like a circle. Okay, everything out of this circle is bad. whether it is good or bad, okay, will mean in the end it will, and he will gain nothing, okay, and everything that inside this circle, okay, is good. Even if it is bad, Allah might forgive him, okay. So if you want to take anyone as a role model in your life, so take the good things and leave the bad aside.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Great point. Excellent.
I would like to put it into something visible.
Go ahead.
It's kind of this. This is the circle of Islam, you know, as Abdel Fattah said, and this is the circle of, for example, Michael Jordan or Steve Jobs or any of these successful examples.
Go ahead. I like this.
It's something like this.
Yes.
There is a shared point or a shared area among these.
We can,
like
you can take all of these shared areas.
We can stay within that shared area. Go ahead.
Like glasses.
Yes, it's like glasses.
Yeah, we can stay within the shared area.
Yes.
I like that visual aid. You know, when they put the two circles together and then they shade the area that's overlapping.
Yes.
The overlapping area, we can work within. But as far as the outside areas, they're two different
leave
things.
those off,
Yeah. And we can look up to our Muslim basketball players, by the way, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes, yes.
You know, in brothers like that.
There's
Abdul Rauf and Denver Nuggets.
Abdul
Yeah.
Rauf, yes.
And may Allah grant him success. I think he's playing basketball in Japan. He's a good brother. They gave him a hard time in the States, but from what I understand, he was a practicing Muslim and everything, so that's great.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, and Shaquille, they said Shaquille's Muslim, but Allah
Really?
knows best. I don't know. Hakeem Olajuwon was one of the best people in America. He was a great man, and all the people love him. And I'm sorry, but I'll go back to you, and then we're going to go back to Hakeem. No, go ahead, go ahead.
I believe that if we look deep enough in our Islamic history, we'll find in the companions of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and in peace upon him, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself, enough role modeling for all our activity. Like, yeah, we can try to be successful in business like Steve Jobs.
Right.
But it's better to be successful like Osman ibn Affan,
Yeah.
Abdurrahman ibn Auf, radiallahu anhum. Yeah, they were great, very, very successful in business.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I want to be a good leader, like some people like late Sadat, John Kennedy, someone saying like that. But it's better to be like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar ibn Khattab, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. We have many, many, many role models in Islamic history. We must go to seek what they do and learn from them.
Like, we have more characters of exceedingly good character, more people to look up to in Islamic history. So many.
That's true, Nabil, but what I think is because these people are alive or they are around us nowadays, they are more effective or influential.
Yeah, right. Especially for the youth.
Because you see them every day in the news and producing a new iPhone or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So you get affected with this.
Yeah. Whether we like it or not, it affects you, doesn't it?
Yes, that's what I mean.
That could be the case. That could be the case. But maybe it's because the people as a whole has left off their deen. You understand? Because at one time the tabi'een, while the tabi'een, okay, the Prophet alayhi salam had been dead at this time. He'd been dead and gone. But those people were stronger in their deen than their predecessors.
Yes.
Okay? So that's not, it's not necessarily a fact that just because, you see these people, but these people, they love their deen and they went after their deen and, they did what it take to be Muslim. But now, I mean, people are, oh, yeah, my name is Muhammad Kalas.
Yes, I'm a Muslim, yes.
But the youth are affected heavily by the media. So
yes, and for me, I think the role model is the person who's most effective in the community. And this goes back to the teachers most of the time.
Right, right.
My role model changed frequently, like moving from a stage to another.
Right,
mashallah. Most of them were teachers.
Yeah, well, this is shows good character in you, brother.
Yes.
You're looking up to teachers, not to the other people, yeah. So that's wonderful, mashallah. So you saying in your life growing up, the teachers played an influential role in your life?
Yes.
And helped shape who you are?
That's why I compare here the teachers and the businessmen, because both are effective and both are influential in the community, and both are taken as role models because you see them every day in news, streets, anyway. But the tabi'een or Sahaba radiallahu anhum, to know more about them, you will have to go and search or read or study or and most of us don't do this.
Yeah,
but others, they are forced to know. Their progress and achievements are forced on you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's an issue of
it's something different.
Yeah, it's an issue of education. So like myself, I don't have a strong Islamic background, so this is the problem, right? Then the media influences you in a stronger way.
But see, this is exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. What I'm saying.
It's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
we have a weak foundation. Then
and because we as a society have accepted these things.
Yeah.
And we've left the deen.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you have maybe a core group or something, someone who's strong in their deen, and they follow these things, and they don't mind doing the research, and they go after. They love these people with their heart like we're supposed to.
Right.
Like for granted,
For granted, yeah.
Yes, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
We're Muslims. I'm Abdullah, Khalas. It's not like that.
No, it's a problem, yeah.
And if you go take a survey in the streets these days, who's your role model? Most of the people will say the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
They will say
who is doing the teaching?
But where's the action?
Yes.
Where's the action?
We all say that, but where's the action?
Yes.
That's a great point, brother. And we're not being negative and criticizing people. We just want to analyze the situation. That's true. We all would say that, but the question is we have to challenge ourselves in order to do it. Because, growing up in the States, as a non-Muslim, I was influenced heavily by athletes and musicians. Not only was I listening to music, I memorized every song and every word, and I want to talk like him. I want to dress like him. I would go now buy a magazine to read about what he said. And then I open the TV, say, oh, did you see so-and-so on his interview on such and such channel? So it becomes before you know it, you're wrapped up in this thing.
Your
obsession. And it's hard to get, and I mean, that affects Muslims people too because they're humans. So this obsession takes over, and then a role model before you know it are, musicians singing about bad things, other dishonest people that we look, criminals, even mafia figures. We grew up watching The Godfather. You Scarface. This movies, it took place in Florida where you were. We watched these movies about drug dealers, and you ask kids in the street, little kids, they don't want to be a doctor. They say, no, I want to be a gangster.
Yes.
And this is in not just American culture, in Latino culture. Lots of cultures like that.
Yeah,
they want to be gangsters.
And even in playing, having a game among kids or something, they're just playing
bad characters.
Yes, bad characters, taking the role of a gangster or something.
So this is an indication that we definitely have to change. Go ahead, brother.
I think, like you're saying now, it's media forcing some kind of stereotypes for your role model. Yeah, it's like the gangster sometimes, the doctor sometimes, the good guy sometimes, the bad guy sometimes, the one who has no beard sometimes, many times no beard. So you see,
most of the times.
Most of the time.
Or maybe he has a beard, but it doesn't matter because he's very, very bad. Because there's many people with beard that, unfortunately, non-Muslims back home, when we look up to these musicians, they may have a beard, but he's not Muslim. He has doing very, very bad things. So that's the point. I see your point. Yeah. But the next question I want to ask is, I admitted, you said, mashallah, your role models were teachers. What about you? Who was your role model growing up? Yeah.
First of all, when I was a little kid, my father was my role model.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Mashallah, great.
I was looking up to him every time, all the time.
Great, yeah.
With growing up, it changed to be my uncle.
Yeah, okay.
He's actually not exactly my uncle. He's my aunt's husband.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
So he's considered my uncle.
Yeah, okay,
so
okay, great.
He was a sailor. Even I wanted to be a sailor, but I didn't get it. But
okay, but you used to look up to him.
Yeah, up till now. Even he's late, but I
How about you, brother? Who's your role model? Who's your role model as a youth, growing up, as a kid?
Well, my father.
Yeah, your father's natural.
Most of the time,
Yeah, mashallah.
He taught me everything, so I owe him.
Yeah, of course. And it shows that those of us who have kids, the big responsibility we have, because the kids are looking up to you, for sure.
I would expect Omar to say that Nabil, his older brother, is
I
his
thought so
role
too.
model.
Your older brother, actually. Your older brother did so much for you. Who is your older brother, by the way? Is he here? Your older brother?
Yes. Nabil.
Because your older brother did so much for you, but you didn't appreciate it. Who's your older brother?
Well, I can change my role model now.
Well, where's your older brother? Is he here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who?
Nabil.
He's here.
Thank you, brother.
That takes us to another point, which is try to bring your older kid as a role model to his younger siblings,
and to teach them that you have to guide your little brother, your little sister.
They can still be their role model even if they are just like 10th grade or something.
Yeah, because he looks up to him. He's so cool. He's bigger than.
That
has
like
a big
to
effect.
be like my older brother or something.
Yeah, so if the older brother is good, inshallah, the younger ones will have a good model to look to. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
inshallah.
Go ahead, brother.
I'd like to add something.
Go ahead.
Here in Egypt, we have now Abu Trika to be considered as a role model.
Who's a football player?
Yes,
soccer player. Yeah. Okay.
Gandhi is considered to be a role model.
Who?
Gandhi.
Okay, the Indian.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Some examples like Shakira is considered to be a role model. Yeah, it's two problems.
Shakira, she's like female singer dancer, I think. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Che Guevara is considered.
Well, this is a big topic. We're going to talk about this one. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead with the question.
By the way, I don't find here a problem to consider anyone to be a role model, but I find it a problem to consider it as an absolute role model. Because an absolute role model is the Prophet Muhammad. Because Allah say to us, speak to us in Quran Kareem and said that we have in Prophet Muhammad uswa hasana. So the Prophet Muhammad is
our role model.
Is a role model. But that this does not mean that we should we shouldn't take any other person to be role model. But we can take Che Guevara as a role model in his revolutionary acts, by the way. I think so.
Brother, I'm really glad you bring up this question. Thank you, brother. Because I was talking to Sheikh Zainuddin Johnson the other day, okay? And I asked him, I said, I see a lot of the Arab youth, they love Che Guevara so much. I know it's like the friend of your enemy is your friend. Like they have a mutual thing. He's a revolutionary, was against the United States, imperialism, all this. But if I recall correctly, they asked him before he died, who do you believe in? He said, I believe in man. They said, what are you fighting for? He's fighting for communism. So by his own mouth, I don't know what to say. So this one's strange for me. Maybe you guys can clarify that. So I don't know why the youth take Che Guevara, the Muslim youth take him as role model. Because he said, who do you believe in when he died? He said, I believe in man. What are you fighting for? He was fighting for communism. So I don't know.
I think this goes back to the shared.
Your friend of your enemy is your friend, but that's what you're saying, right?
Yes, the shared area between the two circles. I think that's why they
like him. Okay, right. What do you think? What do you think about Che Guevara? Why would the youth look up to him, considering what I just said?
Yes, I said that it is not a problem to take any example to be considered as a role model, but it is my problem to take it as an absolute role model.
Okay. So in the case of Che Guevara, why would he be a role model?
No, it's not a role model, by the way. I'm talking about Che Guevara, Gandhi, examples like Abu Trika, examples like that. Of course. And I'd like to add another thing.
Go ahead.
That some youth here in Egypt, like now, don't take a person only to be considered as role model. They took countries to be considered as role model. They took America to be considered as a role model.
This is a big
many countries. They don't take the country of the Prophet Muhammad to be considered as a role model.
Yeah, that's a good point, brother. Because I see the youth. Well, they really look up to America. I say, take the good that America has to offer, because there is some good there, but leave the bad. But what happens is a lot of people, they took all the bad and they left the good. Like the good things, we can say some good things. There's no problem with that. That's true. But the bad things like the materialism, the consumerism, the culture, the media, this stuff, it's a shame. And also because no matter how hard you try to be something you're not, you'll never achieve it. So if you're living in the Middle East and you try really hard to be an American, you'll never achieve your goal anyways, and then they just laugh anyways.
Yeah. So the first time when I traveled to America, everyone was like, hey, lucky you traveled to America, and that's it. And I was like, it's not God's paradise on earth.
Exactly.
No
doubt. That green card doesn't get you to Jannah. That's what Dr. Salah always says.
And also I told them, if you have kids, you know what America means. If your kids grow up among alcohol and girls and everything, you'll just be curious and be anxious about them.
Yeah, mashallah, brother. That was a great point.
Yes.
If you have kids, you'll know what it means to live in the States. But before we talk a little bit more, let's take a short break, you guys. We'll be right back talking about who is your role model, so stay tuned.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah.
Welcome to Tech Talk. I'm your host, Omar Shear. This season of Tech Talk, we will focus specifically on the internet.
A student would type their paper, and instead of handing me a hard copy of their paper, they would upload it to this learning system, this e-learning system.
I have some great experience when it comes to technology, and in particular, internet technology. Call to action is something that we do in our day-to-day lives, and maybe we don't realize it. Now we want to discuss, after you have a product and you have a website and you have a way to communicate with your customers, which would be your email marketing system, now it's time to take the money from the customer.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. Brother, we were talking about who's your role model. Excellent points made about living in the States and who is our role model. I like what you said about that. We spoke about who do we take as our role model. You had one, I interrupted you. Did you want to share something before we went to the next?
Oh, well, I know you asked me earlier who was.
Oh yeah, wait for that. Yeah, okay. Because you also said, Brother Muhammad in the studio audience, he said, a lot of kids taking Abu Tariqa in Egypt. He's a famous football player. That's universal, the athletes. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know who Abu Tariqa is.
He's a soccer player.
Okay, but I hear his name everywhere.
Yeah, it's like
everywhere.
It's like the Jordan of the times here, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's normal. The youth, they take the athletes, okay? But the singers now. Sometimes I turn on the TV here and there in the Middle East and in America, and I think the female singers have a really devastating impact on the men and the women, and this is very bad. And I really get irritated when I see it on TV, and I get irritated when I see people watching it. I said, what are you guys watching? Turn this off, Explain to me how this is okay.
There's no way it's okay.
Yeah, there's no way
There's no way, we're not supposed to be looking at women like that. Yeah. If a woman's not mahram for you, then you shouldn't be looking at her. And everyone's looking at her.
And what's even stupider when they bring like some behind-the-scenes interview and she's all dressed up like this, with her hair down. I say, what are you guys doing? It's very bad. But go ahead.
The problem now is people are taking the role models for the opposite gender. A husband is taking Shakira as a model for his wife.
Yeah, this is a disaster.
Yes, if his wife is not looking like Shakira, he cannot even deal with her.
Yes, great point. That's a great point, brother.
And she is taking another model like Abu Tariqa, as you said.
And he can never be Abu Tariqa.
Yes,
come on.
to be like her husband or something like that.
Well, I'm really glad you bring that up, because now the man sees this woman who's really sexy and beautiful and singing songs, and he wants his wife to be like that. Impossible. So now this will destroy relationships, destroy marriages. On the same side of the husband, he's supposed to be a bodybuilder and rich and famous and supposed to be 25 and be a doctor and do this. It's impossible, right?
Yeah, this is famous in America. Ever since I was a kid, that's how it was. You have to have this look. You have to have this sound. You have to have these shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, but we didn't have Islam. So so the same way that the Muslim would love his deen, we were in love with nothing.
We had to fill that void with something.
Yes.
So I want to tell you guys briefly, just to be honest with you, my role models growing up was always the musicians and the athletes, okay? Yeah. When I got older and wised up a little bit, I began to respect my parents and realize what great people they were, right? But now I'm in mine. Mine were the musicians and the athletes, okay? What about you? Who was your role model growing up?
I really like Prince, man.
Okay, well, so tell us a little bit about how that worked out, and I want you to say why you liked him, and then where he and how you got away from him, and what did you realize about him after you became Muslim, and where is he now? We want to talk about their ending as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would hate to see his ending, honestly.
Right.
I remember, like I was a fan ever since the early '80s,
Right, you were listening to Prince and these guys.
Yeah, okay. And then when he came out with the movie, that was it. He was the man.
He was so big in your eyes, right?
Yeah, he was. But I mean, but actually, like the brother said, my father. My father was he was always a positive person for me, and he always supported me. May Allah guide him to Al-Islam.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
I mean, he was, and alhamdulillah, he still is, to a point, but, now it's different because I'm all the way over here. And,
yeah.
I don't get to talk to him or see him as much, but, You know, he
was your role model now.
Definitely.
Well, brother, look, I know music plays a big influence in our life because it controls our culture. So growing up, I mean, you're listening to Prince's CDs, you're watching his movies. So this kind of really you were inside of this culture. So when you accepted Islam, how did you break out of that? Was it easy, like in a snap, or it was difficult?
Actually, you know, from Rabbana, it was easy.
Yeah.
You know, but I. By this time, I had stopped listening to the pop music.
You already had stopped this.
Yeah,
stuff.
I had stopped listening to that. I stopped listening to rap even. You know, like I was a huge hip hop fan. You know, growing up, but I started listening to reggae, and I was into reggae. You know, even when I became a Muslim. You know, but I remember the brother that helped me to learn about Islam. You know, the one who brought me to the masjid and, you know, showed me how to pray and stuff like that. I remember asking him, I was like, hey, what kind of music do you listen to? You know, because I was like, I listen to reggae because it's conscious music. It's conscious music. As if there was such a thing, you know.
It's funny looking back at what the things you said, right?
Be careful now because you're setting this person as a model now, and people will start reading them, and he's a Muslim now, and he was listening to him, and you know.
But alhamdulillah, now you're away from this, alhamdulillah.
Yes.
No. You didn't. I didn't say the end of it. I didn't say the end of it.
Oh, go ahead.
When I asked him, "What kind of music do you listen to?" He told me, "I don't listen to music."
How did that make you feel? Was it a shock?
It was a shock,
right? Because it's such a big part of our
lives.
lives.
I had never heard anything like that in my life. Never. I mean, you don't listen to music.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he actually told me, he said music was haram. And I was like, the name haram and harm, they kind of sound similar. So when he said it, I understood it.
Yes.
You know, and subhanAllah, I was able to put things together because like I was having trouble with my stereo, and like like I don't know, maybe it was like some jinn in my stereo. I don't know.
And it broke.
No. It would come on sometimes, and it wouldn't come on sometimes. It would come on, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
So.
You let it go.
After he told me that, I was like, well, maybe this is it. Maybe maybe this is why I'm having this problem. So I was able to let it go, man. But I still have an amazing reggae collection. I like reggae to the point where I would buy CDs. I didn't even hear them because I accepted.
What did you do after that? You broke them or you threw them away or what?
I still have them.
But you just don't.
No. They're in America.
Oh yeah. You left America.
Yeah.
Anyway, so forget about it.
They're in America, but I mean, I still, they're still in my possession, but.
Yeah, of course.
I really don't know what to do with them because
throw away, inshallah.
Yeah, but maybe break them.
Yeah, break them. So no one uses it.
Yeah. I don't want it because those things were filled with shirk.
Oh yeah, it's very bad.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say something real quick. I know I talk too much. I just want to share this point though. Growing up in California, I listened to music as well. Let's see who was popular. Dr. Dre. What happened to Dr. Dre in the end? They were saying that he was a cross-dresser.
Yeah.
Allah knows best.
He was cross-dressing in the 80s.
I don't want to mention that. I'm not trying to bring up bad people. I just want to show you the ending. Eazy-E, he died of HIV, you guys. Okay, who else we can talk about? I used to think, these guys like, I don't want to say names, but like Jay-Z. I think this guy's someone to look up to. He said in his songs, I never read the Quran or Islamic scriptures. And then he goes on and on and on, and he insults it, Nas, he says, in God's son we trust, and he says he's God's son. He has a big cross on his arm, and his name is Nasir. These people, look, they're talented in their trade. They're talented musicians. I'm not denying that, but look, they're not role models for the Muslim youth. That's what I believe. And even the Muslim rappers who are like Freeway, he says, I'm a Sunni Muslim, la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but he's making music. Hey, he's still a Muslim, and we ask Allah to
guide him.
Yeah, and he's a Muslim. There's no doubt about that. And we love him for the sake of Allah. But the other guys, I tell them, look, these guys aren't role models for the various reasons I mentioned. What do you think about that comment, brother?
What do you mean exactly in this?
I mean, I think when looking up to these musicians as a youth, when I became Muslim, I realized, look, these guys are talented in their field, but they're not people that we should look up to. Because like you said the overlap.
Yes.
They're on the other side of the overlap. They're not in the shaded area. Would you agree?
Yes, you can just take the shared area, which is
there is no shared area with these guys.
Exactly.
Maybe
business motivation, success,
hard working,
something like that.
Something like that. Some general terms like this.
Yeah. I agree with that. We can take perhaps work ethic from people, stuff like that. But as far as
their beliefs, their words, their actions.
Yeah, we definitely have to stay away from that. Yeah. Michael Jackson, You grew up listening to Michael Jackson as well?
Of course.
He's huge.
Of course.
But look, in the end, this is what I want to mention.
But we don't know about his end. He may have been Muslim.
Yeah, they say some people say that.
Now, of course, Allahu Alam. But I heard that he was killed because of that fact. But I mean, you'll never know. But I mean, like if you think about how Michael was a mega star.
Huge. He's one of those guys that reached
international.
He reached like him. Who else? These guys. He reached such a high level.
Yeah.
This is perhaps was their demise. You get that big and it just.
Yeah, but I mean, if he comes out and says, "Yes, I'm Muslim,"
then everybody would have.
People would. Of course, we know that the guidance is, without a doubt, we know that the guidance is from Allah.
Yeah,
and no one's going to come to this deen except by Allah.
Yeah.
But with a man like Michael Jackson back in Islam, you know what I'm saying? It may be like, it may open the doors for people to say like, well, if he can do it, if he's a Muslim, maybe it's worth listening to.
Yeah.
Seeing what they're talking about.
Yeah.
This is what they didn't want.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, of course. So how about going back to the athletes? Junior Seau was a very famous football player in America, in San Diego. He had all these Pro Bowls, and he was a very famous guy for many, many years, well known. And he committed suicide. They found him in his mansion. He shot himself, and he left a note, and they said he was depressed.
In his mansion?
Yeah, and he's depressed. So I think at the end of the day is, I don't know Junior Seau, maybe he was a great person. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, in the end, we look up to these guys as if they're our role models, but they have a lot of problems themselves, like depression. Because they're lacking what we have, and that's like belief in God, and a strong guidance. So I think that's the point. What do you think, brother?
What I like to add here, that every one of us is unique. Unique in everything, in the way you think, the way you dress, the way you are. So, still unique. Make the good and don't try to be a copy. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
When you like to imitate someone, imitate him in the good things.
Right.
Take the good actions.
Yeah.
Don't just only imitate him in the way he dressed, the way he cut his hair, something like that.
Yeah, don't be a copycat.
Don't be a copycat.
And just blind follower. Yeah.
A lot of the kids are doing with the mohawk these days. You know.
I see the youth here doing that. Yeah.
It's going on in America also.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
So don't be a follower in the way you look, because if you imitate the people, then you are from them. Right? I mean,
yes,
if you imitate people with bad behavior,
that's what the Prophet said.
So if you imitate people with bad behavior, perhaps that you might become them. Back at Florida State, brother, who were the people taking as role models? They were taking their teachers, professors. I'm sure there's some.
Right.
Was there any positive there?
I've seen some positive students.
Yeah,
but they were very few,
right,
1 in a million.
Yeah, right. Because especially Florida State, that's
beaches,
party scenes. So
did you meet any Muslims there?
Yeah, wow. I've met 3 or 4 converts.
Oh, great, mashallah.
Yes, they were great, and they were doing great, and even their efforts in the Muslim Student Association (MSA), it was great, and it is still going on.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Of course, man. If you have the right guidance and the right role model, it's a tremendous help. So wherever you are, if you're at FSU or here in the Middle East,
actually one of them was his mother was complaining to him that she's getting older and the hair is getting whiter, and he said, if you're covered in hijab, you'll never have to complain about this.
Or she could use henna.
But she wasn't married. She wasn't Muslim because he was a
she was
trying
not.
to get a little down on
maybe he should tell her about henna. She could put henna in her hair and be a beautiful woman.
So, but the role model, I think, is something important for the kids, and there's no doubt about that. It's a huge influential factor. So right now, are you in touch with your family back in the States?
Yes.
And you have cousins and so what about the youth over there that they're still in the same trend, isn't it? The musicians and the athletes.
Especially the rappers and movie stars and stuff like that. But I mean, they don't have what we have.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yes. They have no idea. All the billah, somebody could actually look at a person and act as if this person were God.
Yeah. When you look at it, in some ways, they're not perhaps trying to do that, but that's what happens.
Yes.
When you hang the pictures on your wall and you're thinking like that, but before you know it, it's taken over everything. Yeah, so we have to take care about that.
Be specifically careful with your kids and children. There is kind of a joke that says there was a young boy. He's asking his dad, what does the word man mean? He said he takes care of the family, he spends on the family, he takes care of everything. said, oh, I would like to be a man like my mom.
You don't want to do that stuff, right? Yeah, yeah.
I would like to be a man like my mom. So make sure that you are a good model for your kids. Make sure that your older kid is a good model for other younger ones, younger kids or younger siblings. Make sure to control what they are exposed to, TV or teachers or
internet.
People.
Oh
yes, people in their sports club or anything. Just observe everything.
Right. Yes. Yeah. MashaAllah, I like what you said. Can you look at the camera one more time, and I want you to tell them, be a role model for your kids, and make sure you're.
Be a role model for your kid.
Of course. Say it again. Say it again. The camera. So look at the camera, saying, "Be a role model for your kid." Go ahead.
Be a role model for your kid. Be a good one. Be a good father.
Really, it's a great. You know, like we have to be, but we have to live by the example. That's why I like what you said. We should be role models for our kids first. We have to rely on ourselves first for our children, and then teach the older one to be role models for the younger one. So. I certainly appreciate you guys. Having said that, we're at the end of this episode. It's over. You guys, thank you for your time. I certainly appreciate it. You guys at home, thank you for watching Let's Talk. Stay tuned to Huda TV, you guys. It's the premier and the pioneer Islamic language English channel. I keep saying it to convince you guys if you're not already convinced. So having said that, I certainly look forward to seeing you next time, inshallah. So until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I need you. Allahu Akbar. Allah, your mercy is great.